Okay, so in this question, it's a fraction and it has a square root. And everything's square rooted in this. So now you're gonna have to solve the numerator as well. Okay, so the numerator basically helps you find the x's. This explains the x's, and this explains the values that make the function undefined. Okay, so that's why this is called the domain. Okay, this has the critical values. So equal, not equal, yeah, 0, 0. So let's just solve the numerator first. X plus 1 equals 0. X equal negative 1, right? You shift 1. So you have your x, and now solve for the values that make the function undefined. Okay, so let's just go with the denominator. X squared minus 4 not equal to 0. Okay, so you're gonna shift 4. X squared not equal to 4. You're gonna square root. It's gonna give you a positive minus 2. Okay, so now all you need to do is do the number line. So let's just do the number line. Okay, what points do we have? We have negative 1. Let's plot this. We have negative 2. Let's plot this. And we have a 2. Okay. Now, all we need to do is test values. So just use your calculator. Type this in the calculator. You know how to type this, don't you? With the alpha x and all that. Okay, and then just substitute a number before negative 2, a number before negative 1, and the number before 2, and a number after 2, and then you'll find out the false, true, and stuff. Okay, so after you use the calculator and test points, okay, it's gonna give you a false, true, false, true. Okay, it's not always in that order, that same order. Sometimes it's false, 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 true, and all that. Okay, so don't just like get one false and then the rest will be the opposite. So after you do that, you just write the actual domain, which is the last step. Okay, so what do you have? You have you only write the truths, okay, not the falses, only the truths. So you have you have true between negative 2 and negative 1. So and it says not equal to negative 2, okay, but it says equal to negative 1. So how are you gonna write this? You're gonna do an open bracket, okay, negative 2, which means negative 2 is not included, okay, by doing an open bracket. Okay, and then you're gonna do comma, negative 1, all the way to negative 1, and then you're gonna write, and then you're gonna use this symbol, which means and, okay, and go for the next true, which is 2 and greater than, okay. So it says it's not equal to 2. So you're gonna do an open bracket, write 2, then do comma, positive infinity, okay, and open brackets, because it keeps going. So this is your domain. This is gonna be equal, this is gonna be not equal to. Okay, so first one, negative x plus 1 equals 0, equal, yeah, numerator. So you shift 1, negative x equal negative 1, divide by negative x equal positive 1. Okay, this is one of the x's. Okay, now solve the denominator. So it's x squared minus 4x not equal to 0. So all you have to do is factor this and basically get 0 and get x. So you'll get x not equal to 4, x not equal to 0. Okay, so after you do this, you have all your points. Those are all the points you need. So just do the number line, do this. Okay, plot your points, which is 1, 0 and 4. Okay, and now just test values. Okay, so for this one, let me check real quick. You're gonna get false for every number after 4. Okay, so just make sure to do this, because this is not equal to 4. And this is not equal to 0. Yeah, you see this? Not equal to 4, not equal to 0. And the 1, shade it, do this. Okay, because it's true when it's set 1. Okay, so after you test values, you're gonna find that numbers after 4 is gonna be false. Numbers between 1 and 4, also false. Numbers between 0 and 1, also false. Numbers before 0 are true. Okay, so that's your answer right here. This is correct, okay? Don't let this scare you. It's normal. Just get your points, plot them, test values, and that's it. Okay, now just write your domain. Okay, so you have, just write the true. So what do you have for the true? You only have one true, so it's values that are less than 0. Not even with 0, it's not equal to 0, it's less than 0. So negative infinity and 0, open bracket. Okay, because 0 isn't included. You don't close it, you open it. And that's your answer. Okay, so now I'm gonna start explaining the log questions. So the rule for the log questions is basically getting the numbers inside the brackets and making them greater than 0. And that's it. So take the numbers here, negative x squared plus 9 greater than 0. And now you just solve for x. So solve for x, just factor. You can shift 9 if you want to, because after you shift 9 and divide by negative, okay, 9 will become positive. So you can square root it. Okay, and you'll get x plus 3 minus 3. Or you can just shortcut and factor right away. If you write this in mod 5.3, you'll instantly factor it. So you'll get x greater than 3, x greater than negative 3. Okay? That's your answer. That's your domain. Okay, so this question has a mix of both log and square root x plus 1. Okay? So we're gonna need to find the domain as usual. Okay, solve the log. Okay, so log is gonna be, I know they're not all square rooted, but this is log, so just, you might as well solve it to find the x. So you're gonna have to put the numbers inside the bracket greater than 0. So it's gonna be x greater than 0, since it's the only thing inside the bracket. So that's your answer for the numerator. And then solve the denominator. So x plus 1. Okay, you're gonna put greater than 0. Why? Because you have a square root, yeah? The only way to cancel a square root is to use an inequality, right? And I told you, when you have a number, an exponent with x, you can't use an equality, you need to use equal. Here we don't have an exponent, so you might as well just use equal. You might as well just use the inequality, okay? Sorry. So you use the inequality, but you don't put an equal here. Why don't you put an equal under it? You don't put an equal under here because the rule for fraction is numerator is equal and denominator is not equal, right? So what happened here? You basically did this. So let's say you have 1 over x plus 1, yeah? So this is gonna be equal to 0. This is gonna be basically this. It's gonna be greater than or equal to 0, and it's gonna be not equal to 0 because this is because it's in the denominator, and this is because we're trying to cancel the square root. What do they have in common? They don't like the equal sign. Okay, so you cancel the equal sign. So it's like you can have the inequality, you just can't have the equal sign because it can't be equal to 0. So you just remove the equal, and you have this. You just have this on its own. X plus 1 greater than 0. Okay? If you don't get this part, just replay, because I kind of complicated stuff, because I keep rambling. Okay? So just solve for x, and you'll get x greater than -1. Okay? So you got your values, plot them. Okay? So we have 0, and we have -1. Okay, so once you use the calculator for this and test points, you're gonna get a false here, and a false here, and a true here. I know it says greater than -1, yet you still got a false here. This is normal, okay? Okay, so in this question, you have log in the denominator. So nothing square rooted as well. So you can tell that you don't have to work on this. You just have to work on this to find the domain. So work on this, work on the denominator. You're gonna put, for log, the rule is greater than 0, yeah? So you put everything inside the brackets, greater than 0. So that's what I did here. And then I remembered that once you have an exponent with x, okay, you can't use inequality, right? Because you need to square root, and square rooting an inequality won't work. Okay, so you change it to not equal. Okay, you just change, because why is it not equal? Because it's in the denominator, right? This is equal, this is not equal. Okay, so you're gonna have to just do not equal. Just forget about the log rule, okay? Because this overtakes this rule because of this. So after you factor this, you're gonna get x not equal to 1 and x not equal to 3. Okay, I scratched this because I wanted to explain something again. I wanted to make this clear. So after you do the number line, you do this. Okay, you have your 1 and your 3, yeah? So 1, 3. So you're gonna test values. You're gonna get a false, and then, 1, 3, you're gonna test 2, obviously. But 2 is gonna give you undefined as well. Because once you substitute 2 here, it's gonna give you an undefined. So even if that happens, like, you're solving completely right, it's fine. Just keep testing values. So once I found out that 2 isn't true, it's false, okay, I started testing 1.5, 2.1, 2.2. So every number between 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 works. It's just 2 itself doesn't work. So you just need to do this, a circle here, and then true, true, and false. Okay, circle means like it's not equal to 2, and shaded, it means it is equal to 2. So you have false, true, true, false. The 2 separates the both truths because it's false. So you're gonna have to write the domain. You're gonna do this. Okay, you're gonna look at the true. So you have true from 1 to 2. So open brackets, because 1 isn't included. And then 2 isn't included either. So this basically means any number between 1 and 2, just not 1 or 2. Okay, and then you're gonna put and open brackets 2 and 3. Open brackets, because 3 isn't included as well, because it's not equal to 3 and not equal to 1. So this basically explains any number between 1 and 2, any number between 2 and 3.